sure, man. Hey, man, the floor is yours. I'm not going to go ahead and waste no time whatsoever. Go ahead and give your thing, big power.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, thank you, Tony. Thank you, man. I really appreciate, you having me on here, stories written by current prisoners, being the fact that I've shared experiences on 3-4 separate channels, trying to educate people on what it is to be caught up in this lifestyle, whether it's prison lifestyle, gang lifestyle, drug lifestyle, whatever the case may be. We're just trying to get through to the youngsters, try to make a difference in this world. I believe that I have been successful.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Making a real impact, although, there is some adjustments that I still have to make because every day we strive to be a better person, and everybody is not perfect, and we all make mistakes. And, being the fact when I was younger, I went through a lot of stuff in my childhood. I've shared a lot about the violence in my household, the abuse in my household, growing up in gangs and neighborhood crews and jumping people, getting jumped, stabbed, shooting, all that type of stuff. And when you come to prison, there's all kinds of different scenarios and circumstances you might find yourself in. And to me, in my opinion, I'm on the phone. In my opinion, there's a few that come to mind that are very extreme, that are very serious situations that are really separates the man from the boys. And not everybody is a fighter. That is a fact. Not everybody has that violent nature in them. But in prison, you have to have some form of aggressiveness to survive in this place. And when you're younger, you see these movies where prison seems cool, hanging out in a jail cell, and you're just chilling with your homeboys and hanging out in a little cubicle. Well, let me tell you something. Being in a cell 24 hours a day, 23 hours a day is torturous conditions. And one of the things that comes to mind is a kamikaze mission when you have to stab somebody in front of the hierarchy, in front of the authorities, in front of people watching, lieutenants, sergeants, captains, whatever. Not only that, but being involved in a full-scale riot, a full-scale prison riot. So a lot of people have been on the winning side of the knife. They played it safe. They've been doing all kinds of work, 2-on-1s, jumping people. I think, in my opinion, when it comes to like a full-scale riot, especially when you're a white boy in the state of California, we're always outnumbered. Like, we are always outnumbered by a lot. And in this case in particular, this was Calipatria back in 2008. Back in 2008, Bro, I'm on the phone, bro. When I arrived, I was a youngster, maybe 22 years old, and I was fresh out of reception, first term, never been in trouble, but I'm doing a lengthy sentence. I'm doing 27 years with 2 strikes. In my mind, that's a life sentence, period. That's what I was told. That's the way I was acting around this, this age. I had already given up on life. It really didn't matter to me whether I lived or died. It didn't matter, So I was stuck in these prison walls with this mindset of, I just want to pick up a knife and I want to do it how they do in the movies. I want to stab people. I want to have all the power. I want to have the control. I want to reap the benefits since I'm going to be spending the rest of my life inside these concrete walls. And when I arrived there from North Kern Reception Center, we were just getting off lockdown. We were just getting off lockdown at Calipatria because they just had a riot. Matter of fact, it was a legendary riot between the Southern Hispanics and the cops. And this one right here was deadly. It ended up being a fatal situation where one of the officers inside the block, as it was kicking off, pulled out his Mini 14. Now, they're not even supposed to, Hold on one second, Tony. Hold on. This cop protocol, when you're an officer, a correctional officer in the state of California, procedure is you're not allowed to shoot a Mini 14 inside the block. You have to I don't know what the reason is for that. I'm not sure. But in this case in particular, right down in the corner of A section and B section, 100%, this cop pulled out the Mini 14 from the observation tower inside the block and shot one of them 223 bullets and hit one of the Southern Hispanics right in the head. Blew his balls were all over the place, and the reason why he got shot is because he called in a lethal code to where they had the mop ringers. So they had the mop ringers, they had knives, and he was hitting an officer over.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
A cap without the mop attached to it, which means it was just all metal, and this dude was just hitting him over and over and over, which called for the officer to give him a fatal blow. That right there ended that riot. So that's when they proned out. All the Southern Hispanics proned out. That riot, you can actually see it on Court TV. If you go on Court TV, you will be able to see a segment of that one right there. And that one was treacherous. It was brutal, and there was actually a lot of stuff that was left over after that situation occurred. The aftermath of that was actually pretty interesting. I might talk about it later on. You know, there's always repercussions when an officer kills a Southern Hispanic. Now, these dudes are straight soldiers, okay? So, like, you kill one of them, that's believed there's orders. They're coming back. So, and that's a whole other intense scenario. So that's what happened when I arrived. And when I arrived, they didn't have metal detectors inside the block. So they were installing them right there at the podium where the officers hang out. So there's 2 floor officers in each block in the state of California. That's how it is. 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, 4 block, 5 block. There's 2 floor officers and there's 1 observation who sits up there in the tower. That's how it is. Now, there never used to be any type of railings around them where they used to sit. So they were installing, this riot was so bad, they decided to install some more safety and security type of material, and they put a metal detector and they put railings around that area. So that was brand new right there, and that just tells you how serious it is. That tells you how serious that riot actually was. So we're getting off lockdown, and, you know, we're hanging out there for maybe 5-6 months tops, and I'm just getting familiar with what it is like on a level 4 prison yard in California. You know, I heard the stories. You always have a half a knife on you. You always got to watch your back. You got to stay alert, be aware of your surroundings at all times.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
You're not allowed to fight. If it's not that serious to where you can stab over, then you have to let it go. That's just the mindset that I was in. So everything was peaceful, super peaceful, and then next thing you know, out of nowhere, and this is usually how it happens, everything's peaceful, everybody's getting along, and then you see the commotion. You start wondering, what is that? You know, as a kid, as a youngster, I was curious about everything, and I seen some of my older homeboys. Matter of fact, I seen my older homeboy, Mike McMillan, Animal from P9 Death Squad. He was one of my elders, one of my bros that I used to look up to, big time. You know, Animal was one of those guys that, you know, I idolized. I had aspirations to be like him. He had been PDS for a very long time, like 6'4", PDS, covering his whole throat, Warbird, covering his whole chest. He's done his rounds. He's earned his stripes, and he has how it is. And, you know, I'm watching the commotion. I'm seeing what's going on, so I go approach my homeboys, and I'm like, bro, what's going on? Why does all of a sudden everybody look so serious? And they say, bro, what? They say, bro, we got some bad news. And I'm like, what's up, bro? Like, what's going on? And he's like, bro, a white Crip just hit the yard. And I'm like, bro, so what does that mean, bro? Like, we all got knives, bro. This is a level 4. Like, what's happening, you know? And I was on C Yard. And in Calipatria, on C Yard, there's only 2 mainline blocks, which is 4 and 5. 1, 2, and 3. 3 block is orientation, and 1 and 2 is INS for like immigration and stuff like that. So it's not that many people as opposed to a full active yard with 5 blocks. So fortunately, it was playing out that way. So I'm like, so what do we do, bro? And there was another person who was road dogs with my older homeboy Animal, and they're making an executive decision that if we take care of this white crip who is on orientation immediately before it starts circulating, and we keep it an isolated incident, then maybe it won't crack. Maybe it won't turn into a full-scale war. And one can only hope, one can only hope. And I'm like, bro, will that actually work? Because I've actually had a little bit of experience in the county jail over white Crips and white Bloods, and regardless, they always backed them. Regardless, it was always a bad situation no matter what. So in my mind, it was bad, and I was setting myself up and preparing myself for that. And it's not fun. It's very stressful. When you're a Caucasian in the state of California and you got 16 fighting 100, it's real hard. And a lot of white boys check in. Like I said, that's what separates the men from the boys. You get to see who the real soldiers are. You get to see the reaction on a real fight or flight type of situation. And usually the ones that talk that real hard talk were the ones that would lay down in a riot or slam the door shut and not get off. It was usually the ones that you least expected were the ones that were really on the front lines. So, I'm like, okay, well, hopefully this works. I'm going to go ahead, since I'm a youngster, I don't have much say-so here, I'm going to go ahead and just get ready. So I went back to my cell, and I was celled up with this dude named Darren Denny, who was my dog, and he was an older homeboy of mine, and we had 2 big old knives and sheaths that hadn't even had a point yet, and we got to sharpening. And it was a flat metal stock, which means I put 2 edges on it, and it was so sharp. Pour a little water on the ground, put some gloves on, and just get to wrenching. And I wanted mine to where it was big because I'm fighting big African Americans. I'm not that big. These dudes are huge, and there's a lot of them. Now, what was weird about this riot, we have to get this done immediately. So they send him over a night, and it's a dude from the Bay Area. I'm not going to say his name, but he's from San Francisco. He's the only one in orientation, which means he's the only man that has the responsibility to get this dude hit. And it's a dude named Chico, Red Nose from Chico. He's kind of a healthy white boy. Nevertheless, he's a white Crip, and at this time, we don't program with them in California, period. They're considered race traitors. It's just disrespect to skinheads. It's disrespect to the woods. That's how we looked at it. Things change now, but that's how we looked at it then. And the knife gets over there. We get word that Lee has the knife. He has the knife. He's in orientation, and he's looking for his moment to get this dude. In orientation, you're not even class.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So this white Crip is going to the shower, back from the shower to the cell, and that's pretty much it. That's his only movement, except chow. But even in chow time, when you're going to the dining hall, they established racial tensions, which means they're doing controlled movement. So white boys are never even going to have an opportunity to get to this dude. So homeboy who's in orientation, he comes out the yard, and he's stressed out, and he's panicking, and he's like, bro, the knife that you guys sent me is too big. I'm like, bro, what do you mean it's too big, bro? He's like, I need a smaller one. He said, this one is way too big, and I'm not going to do it with this knife. So we replaced it, and that took about a day or two. Which meant word is starting to hit the yard. That's what we did not want to happen, but it's hitting the yard. So we're like, bro, here's a knife. Go get it done. No more BS. Handle it, bro. You are a lifer. We shouldn't even be having these concerns. This should have already been done. So we're waiting. He's got the knife, and we're just kind of in our block waiting for an alarm, waiting for something to happen. And then sure enough, there was the alarm. Cops go running, and we get cell fed. We get cell-fed at evening dinner time, which means dude just took care of the job. He took care of his job. Come to find out, his only opportunity was when that white crip was called to the podium by the lieutenant of the yard and the sergeant of the yard, and he kamikazed that mission and ran right up on him in front of the authorities and just started stabbing him. Boom, 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 and hit him maybe a good 6 or 7 times right in front of him. I mean, it shocked him. He went to the hole. White crip went to the hole. And usually, the way it turns out is we're going to be on some sort of lockdown. We're going to be on some sort of assessment. Not this time. And it was crazy because this was so unexpected. The very next morning, we're cell-fed. So we're assuming we're going to be on lockdown, but no. Boom. They take us right off lockdown, and they pop my door for education. I'm the only white boy who's in education. And I'm like, bro, I'm caught off guard. I don't know what to do, and I'm kind of in a panic. And all the blacks are out. Boom. And they're all getting popped out. They're all getting ready for education. I'm the only one in there, and I'm like, bro, this is not good. Dude, Darren, this is not good, bro. And I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, bro, I said, bro, we can't even carry knives in there, bro. I'm going in there empty-handed. Shake his hand, and I leave. Calipatria, the doors automatically close for you. Boom, my door closes. Now I'm the only white boy out in the building, loose, and there's blacks everywhere. And they're running to their homie cells. And as I'm going through to education, I'm getting that vibe. I already know what's happening. Word circulating. They're talking. And I'm just like, bro, this is not good, bro. I feel like a lone ranger. I have no people anywhere because I'm the only one in education. But we share the half of the classroom with the Hispanics. So when we get to class, I sit down with them, and all of them are my friends because I've been in that class with them for a long time, and I've been in that block with them a long time, and I got along with them real good. And as I'm talking to them and they're asking what happened, you can just see the blacks just stuffing the hallway, throwing up gang signs, calling me out to the hallway, making gestures like, bro, like, it's on. And I'm like, oh, man, this is just not good. This is so not good. And I'm like, bro, what do I do, bro? Like, I'm a youngster. I've never been in this situation before. Am I going to be in trouble if I don't go out there? Like, what do I do? And in the essays, the Southern Hispanics said, do not go out there, bro. Don't go out there. Wait till 10 o'clock nutrition break. Be wise, bro. Don't go out there and get yourself killed, bro. We'll get you out to the yard safely. We'll surround you. Matter of fact, as I'm telling this story, there's an individual that was part of this group. If I can, I'll try to get him on just a little short version. He was a part of this. His name is Vance. He's here right now on this yard with me, and we talk about it all the time. So 10 o'clock comes, boom, bell rings. It's nutrition break. I'm like, boom, my adrenaline is going. Like, I don't know what to expect. There's so many of them, and there's none of us. And they surround me, and I was really surprised that they surrounded me and that they held their word to that degree. They surrounded me to where these guys could not get in between them, and they safely take me out to the yard. As soon as we hit the yard, they open the gate, they close the gate, I'm on my own. So I just rush over to where my homeboys are, where the whites are, and there's only about 7. There's about 7 whites, and they're over by the bathrooms, and they're over there high-fiving, completely oblivious to what's going on. And I'm not even going to lie to you, I was starting to get real scared because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. This is a level 4. I was always taught there's going to be a lot of knives involved. In my mind, I'm thinking the worst. So as I run over there, I'm telling them to pick up the knives, to unbury the knives because we had some buried right there. And they start arguing with me, bro. They start arguing with me, telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm yelling at them. In the midst, as we're doing that, you hear a white boy yell, "It's going down right now. It's going down right now." And then I look back, and like I'll never forget it. Like it was like a stampede. There was 90 blacks running full speed at us. Full speed at us. Now, I was a youngster at the time, so the person who yelled, "It's going down right now," he was an elder, and he led by example, and without the hesitation, he just ran full speed at them. There was only like 7 of us running full speed at 90 blacks. what the hell are we thinking, bro? And it was crazy is because each individual gang targeted each individual white boy. So I had Baby Loke, Grape Street Watts, all youngsters, about 12 of them, singling me out, targeting me. And, you know, some of them were like, you know, friends of mine, associates, acquaintances, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes down to this, it's business. And as we run up, bro, like I'm just running, and as I'm running, it's like slow motion, and I'm just like I'm running into a grave right now. Is what I'm thinking in my head. And next thing you know, it's going, it's cracking. I'm down on the ground.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And I'm like, bro, this is not good. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, people are getting broke up. And there's this crazy white native dude named JC who saved my life, bro. He hung back and unburied one of those knives and jumped, swinging the knife at these blacks that were jumping me just enough to get me up. Saved my life. And I remember getting up and I kicked the dust off me, and I'm watching them just swing this knife at these dudes, and now they're attacking him. And I just start doing whatever I can to stay on my feet, keep moving, keep going. And I'm just watching some whites just get stomped out, watching some whites get hit, and then boom, the Mini 14 fires. Bam, we all prone out. We prone out. Everybody hits the ground. Live ammunition's fired. Everybody hits the ground, and we're all looking around to see who's hurt, who's not. And we look over, and that individual who yelled, "It's going down right now," his blood brother was face planted, knocked out cold, looked like he was dead in the dirt. And his brother immediately jumps up. Boom, my brother, and starts going over towards the blacks, and they're screaming, the observation tower screaming, "Get out or we're going to shoot." Everyone's like, "Get out, bro, get out." And he's like, "F that, my brother." So we get up again, and we follow suit. You have to, or else politically you're going to be in trouble. And we go at it a second time. Boom, they fire another live ammunition back down to the ground for the second time. This time, they're securing us. They're coming through with a skirmish line, zip tying us. And then there was one individual, one white boy who used to work track right there on the yard, named Tommy DeLuna from SAC.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And this individual, this was crazy. Hey, Tony, I'm going to have to call you back to wrap it up, okay?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Well, I'll call you right back to wrap it up.
Okay.
Tommy DeLuna from Sacktown. This dude was Christian, but all he did, he was doing LWOP, life without the possibility of parole, for some circumstances where somebody got murdered. But you know, he claims his innocence, and I believe him because he was one of the coolest laid back dudes I'd ever met, and he looked like Brad Paisley, and he was muscular, real buff, but he had never put in work in prison. He was a Christian. He was a good person. He was trying to go home, and he's a track guy. So they take Tommy DeLuna as they're securing everybody. They take Tommy DeLuna and they unlock the fence, take him from the track, put him inside the weight pile, and lock the fence. We're zip-tied, and we're looking around like, bro, look at Tommy, bro. He's not handcuffed, which means politically he has to jump. He has to jump or his career's done or he's done. You have to jump, period. And he gets up like Spartacus is what they were saying, and he just was screaming, and he was just running full speed at the black side of the weight pile. He just started just slinging them, just dropping these dudes. Boom, boom, boom. And
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They hit him with like 2 or 3 block guns, and he got back up, and now they're stomping him. They stomped him, but he did really, really, really good, and they secured him too. And right there, you know, that was my very first experience of a full-scale riot. You know, sometimes they last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Luckily, this one wasn't that long, but it sure seemed like it. When you're getting beat up, when you're getting jumped, well, it's no fun, you know. And so the next time you think you want to come to prison or you think gang lifestyle's cool, yeah, well, go ahead and put yourself in that situation and be one of those 8 white boys going up against 90 blacks. And you'll see how fun it is. Because I promise you it's not. I hope you enjoyed the story. And I hope that it's making an impact and the difference out there. And thank you very much. Wow.
Damn, that was a banger. That was a banger.
Cool?